Hey everyone, this is Scott from the Forgot to Grow podcast. Welcome to our The Umbrella Academy Season 1 Thoughts video. I just finished watching the first season of The Umbrella Academy on Netflix. It just got added this morning. Binged the whole thing throughout today, and I really enjoyed this season. So I'm just going to be talking about my general thoughts in this video, along with the things I liked, the things I didn't like, and then my recommendation for this show at the end. So yeah, let's just start with my general thoughts about this show. I really enjoyed the overall story in this of this first season, of each of the episodes that kind of tie into this overarching plot of they've got a week to, figure out what the apocalypse is and stop it. And they go through these motions of them not all believing each other, the dysfunction of their family dynamics, so much trouble just to try and just to even convince each other that there's actually an apocalypse coming and they gotta actually do something about it. But I really enjoyed it overall. I thought the story was very interesting and kind of unique take on a save the world story, which is very classic for superheroes. It's very standard for them to try and save the world, but I thought this was a little different because we are given this team that doesn't really. They're all in their own little thing. They all got their own things going on, which brings me to the characters. I really enjoyed all these characters. Their names being Luther, Diego, Allison, Klaus, yeah. Five, Ben, and Vanya. So that's the 7 kids of the Umbrella Academy. They were all adopted by this eccentric billionaire because they're all born on the same days. All but one of them seems to have powers. Spoilers for I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the video. I'm going to be spoiling things in this video, so if you haven't finished the season, you probably want to go now. But yeah, so I really enjoyed these characters. I thought they all felt like very individual characters, and they didn't, if that makes any kind of sense at all, but meaning that they all felt kind of real. They all felt like unique in having their own traits and what made them tick in their own different ways, what motivated each of them in different ways. So I really enjoyed that. They weren't all kind of just, you could have easily just had it, they were all just, a lot of them were just, always listen to Daddy-O, but they each had their own kind of unique take on it, their own feelings about their father and their upbringing and each other in that essence. So I really enjoyed these characters and how they were kind of brought to life, and they are all kind of new characters too, not typical characters you get in a superhero a TV show or movie in general. So I really enjoyed that they were different, they were interesting to kind of explore, and I thought they did a great job exploring each of these characters too, and especially in just 10 episodes I got a really good sense of each of the characters. I feel like I know, like I said, I feel like I know how each of them tick, what motivates them, what kind of decisions they're going to make, and along those lines. So yeah, I really enjoyed that for the most part. There was one character I didn't love, but I'll talk about that and things I didn't like once I get to that part. But yeah, some of my other general thoughts is I thought this had a great aesthetic to the show, and they did a great job with the special effects and the different action sequences and stuff. There's never a point in this show where I was taken out of it because of the CGI or the special effects, and that's for me is where it kind of, that's the line. That's kind of my line that they just got to get over. It's a pretty low bar, but I also don't like to hold them that high, especially when it comes to a TV show. But considering this is a TV show, I thought it was pretty high bar. It looked almost movie quality at most parts. There was a few times that I was like, it was definitely TV CGI a couple times, but like I said, overall, I thought it was pretty great and I enjoyed it, especially the action scenes. I thought they were all just really fun and entertaining. I really enjoyed a lot of them. I'll talk about a couple of those specifically and the things I liked. Yeah, and then the powers of these, of the kids of the Umbrella Academy, I really enjoyed them. I thought they were very unique and intriguing because one of them has kind of your classic, superpower strength, but they all got a little bit of a twist on it if they do have, a classic one. That makes it just a little bit more interesting. And overall, I just really enjoyed kind of learning about it. I liked also that they didn't flat out tell you what all their powers were. Instead, they kind of slowly let you see how each of them worked, and they didn't even full out explain how each of their individual powers worked because they don't always know at the same time. It's just things they were given the ability to do. Five doesn't know how he time travels or how he hops through space. It's just something he can do. So I just really enjoyed these powers, and I thought they were kind of interesting. There could have been a little bit more explanation, I guess, or a little bit more clarity on a few things, like Five. He's the guy who's back from the future, and It's a whole lot of explanation that I don't really want to get into, to be honest. Yeah, so 5. If you don't know who 5 is, this is definitely too far in the video for you to have watched. Yeah. What was I saying? But yeah, 5's power is a little like, it's a little confusing as to why it does work sometimes and why it doesn't other times. It seems maybe it's attached to his emotions like the others, but it's a little unclear. Like, I don't know how far he can teleport, because that's the main part of his power, is that he can teleport and travel through space, but he also travel through time. So it's just a little unclear, like how far he can travel, how often he can travel. At one point it's mentioned the more he does it, the more it takes a toll on his body, which makes sense. I like when characters have that limitation. It'd be kind of boring if he could just teleport like, you know, endlessly, like second after second. That would get a little bit like, okay. But if he does kind of have a limitation, as it seemed, that does that make it a little bit more interesting. Like I said, I did enjoy it. It seemed like it could have been a little clearer. But I also like that they didn't out and out sit you down and give you a whole like talk. Okay, so these are our powers, or, you know, have the kids go by with a music video going on. Suicide Squad. But yeah, so let's just get into a few of the things that I liked in particular. I like the two villain, the kind of, I would say, like, not, I don't want to say smaller villains of this, but the two henchmen of the big villain, Hansel and Choo Chow. I don't remember her name. But yeah, I really enjoyed their attack on the Academy at first, because that's when you first get to see each of the members of the Academy, each of the members of the family showing off their unique powers, or the ones that were there at least. That's a little, yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was fun. It was cool, like, to see the way, you know, these two, you know, trained killers are going up against these trained superheroes who haven't really been in the game for that long, for like 15 years at some points. But I really enjoyed it nonetheless. Some of the other things I liked that, again, spoilers. If you haven't watched the whole season, stop watching now, but a big spoiler's about to come out. Big spoiler. I really like that we get a delay on 7 actually having powers. So at the beginning of the season, 7, Vanya, doesn't have powers. She's been told her whole life that she's ordinary, and they really emphasized that, and that made me suspect that she was going to end up having powers. Like, you don't have 6 siblings with superpowers, and you don't. So it wasn't that big a surprise, but I liked the way they brought it about. I like that it wasn't just, you know, oh, first episode, she's already figured it out. I like that she was kind of in denial about it at points too. So I just really enjoyed that she does end up having power. She is just like her siblings, but she takes it a different way, which we'll talk a little bit more. But yeah, one of the last things I liked a lot of the things in this episode, but another thing I liked was 7 destroying the Academy and 7 killing that Herald guy, which both of those scenes were just really awesome, like just straight superhero stuff, and I just really enjoyed those couple scenes. It was really badass to see Ellen Page, just doing a role that you kind of saw her in an X-Men, but a little bit more extreme, with her actually like being able to blow shit up. And just overall, I thought it was very kind of like meaningful, especially her destroying the Academy. And I was just happy she killed Harold. She killed him sooner, which leads me into stuff I didn't like. I didn't like Harold, and I don't particularly love the way 7 handled certain things. She went crazy. She was, well, not crazy, I don't want to say that. She overreacted a little bit. Just a little bit. She got a little dramatic. She did cause the apocalypse, kind of. That's an arguable point if you actually really want to get into it. But yeah, that's something I didn't really love about this season. Her character at a few points just seems like a little hard to connect with some of her decision making, especially based around her family, which I guess she does have a lot of like kind of drama and baggage with her family, which is understandable, and why she wouldn't be able to trust them completely. But how easily she trusts this Harold guy, who right off the bat seems really creepy. Like, the first moment you meet him, I'm like, the first scene he's in with her, I'm just like, oh my, I was on the edge of my seat, because I'm just like, this is creepy. This guy's creepy. There's something off right off the bat. And the fact that she didn't sense that, and then she was very, you know, very like opposed to her siblings, like especially particularly her sister Allison's advice about this guy, was just how resistant she was to that, and how it kind of that almost, I guess, pushed her to this Harold guy. I didn't love that, but that was just because it gave me anxiety, to be honest. But yeah, a couple other things that I didn't love about this season was we did kind of get the classic like story problem, or not story problem. A lot of stories have this one kind of thing, which is if people were honest right off the bat and didn't keep secrets, a lot of plots could get resolved a little quicker. And in this in particular season, you know, with 5 coming back and not telling anybody what he's trying to do, like slowly he tells one by one, but he pretty much takes almost the entire week that he has before he ends up telling everybody. So it's like, just tell them, man. Like, Favre, just tell them. And like everyone who ends up having it, like everyone's just keeping their secrets in this family. And it's just like, come on, guys. If you like certain ones, you can just share with everybody. Share that you're still seeing Ben. It's like, come on, people. Like, I get your. It's just that was a little frustrating for me. But that's kind of a, I don't want to say classic story problem, but it is kind of a trope of certain story plots, which is, you know, if all the characters were just a little bit more honest, it could resolve things a lot easier. But that also wouldn't play into most of these characters, because once you introduce them, you understand throughout the season why they don't do that. It's still a frustrating point for me, nonetheless. And the last thing I didn't love about this, again, another spoiler, was the death of Pogo, the butler, right-hand man, the Alfred of this series. She killed him. She killed him at the end. I didn't like that. You don't kill Alfred. I know his name's not Alfred, but he's my Alfred for this show. And I didn't love that he got killed, or was killed in a way that I can't pretend that he might come back, because that just stings. That stings. She's going to have so much guilt over that. And so I'm a little interested to see how that goes, but I'm just a little disappointed that he had to die. I was happy about Harold, not Pogo. But yeah, those are things that I disliked. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this season. Like I said, I like the story, I like the characters, and I like this kind of different take on these superpowers, a different superpower, or a different comic book universe, I should say. Yeah, I overall really enjoyed it, like I said, and I would recommend this to anybody who likes superhero stuff, or comic book stuff in general, or sci-fi. This has a kind of sci-fi feel to it. If you didn't tell me it was based off a comic book, or if I didn't already know that ahead of time, I would have believed it could have been based off of some kind of sci-fi script or something like that. You know, if you took out the fact that they call themselves super, like, just a couple times, it could just be almost like a sci-fi story. So I really would think it would, if you like sci-fis, you would like this TV show as well. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts about the first season of The Umbrella Academy. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what you thought of the season, if anything you liked or didn't like. I'm always curious to hear about that stuff. Thanks again for joining me today. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and have a good one.